The big news coming out of Raw Monday night was the reveal of Mustafa Ali as the leader of Retribution. That is, according to WWE, they are referring to him now as the leader. Now, let me be the first to say, it is nice that Ali is going to finally get a bit of a push for the first time since being brought back to TV. He was off television for 7 months for no good reason. Then they brought him back with no plan, and he has spent much of his time wrestling on Main Event. But him being put with Retribution does not suddenly make Retribution a good thing. That is going to be up to WWE, where they take the story next. Ali is going to get his first promo on Raw tomorrow night. It is being promoted that Ali will speak, and that's going to be very important. It's going to be an important promo to see how they explain things, or even if they, how deep they really choose to even go into the story. Ali was having a match with MVP when Retribution came out. MVP asked Ali, hey, are you going to stand with us? And Ali was standing with the Hurt Business initially, but then he confronted T-Bar and Mace in the aisle before telling them to get him. He pointed at the Hurt Business and told Retribution to go get them, and they did. And after they laid out MVP, Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin, again, there was no Cedric Alexander this week, Ali stood with them in the middle of the ring, as Samoa Joe wondered on commentary, how long has he been with the group for? And it's a shame, because Ali is such a great babyface to root for. And now, look, I don't even know if I won't call it a heel turn yet. It probably is, but I will not call this a heel turn. I don't think you can yet call this a heel turn. Even though these people have been terrorizing everybody in the company, including the announcers and the people in the production truck, and they've taken weapons and chainsaws and all kinds of hell, right? That this group has been raising now for weeks and weeks. I don't know that I would call this a heel turn yet for Ali. They attacked the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business is positioned as a heel group on Monday Night Raw. So I won't go that far yet, but heel turn or not, this is not the underdog babyface Mustafa Ali anymore. That is now dead for the time being. And so this could be a big break for him. Now, unfortunately, it comes as part of this terrible storyline, terrible so far. There's still time to turn things around. And the way that I would do that is I would have Ali explain very easily. It's very, very simple. I would have Ali explain how he has been taken for granted and he has been overlooked time and time again by WWE management for the past 2 years. I would take it all the way back to last year's Elimination Chamber, when he was supposed to be in the Elimination Chamber match. And he was taken out of the match after Randy Orton stomped on his face in their match on TV. And I think it was a broken orbital socket. He injured Ali. Ali had to be removed. And in his place, the substitute was Kofi Kingston. And Kofi went on to have this great story heading into WrestleMania, and he got his WrestleMania moment, and he became the WWE champion. Now, I am not saying that would have been Mustafa Ali. I don't believe that Mustafa Ali was going to WrestleMania to win the WWE championship, although he could have potentially competed for it. I don't think he was winning anything. But he would have at least had some kind of a match or a spot, I'm sure, on the show. He had a little bit of momentum at that time. I think people liked Ali, and they were starting to get behind him. And he's a likable guy, and who knows what spot he would have ended up in at WrestleMania. But Kofi got the spot. Kofi's been there a lot longer than Mustafa Ali. He's been there for however many years, 11 years, I think it was. And the people just got behind him. You can't really ever predict how or when the people are going to get behind somebody like that, like they did with Daniel Bryan. It just sort of happens. It happens organically. There's a reason for it. They feel sorry for the guy, or they think he's been getting screwed over. They think he's been overlooked. He's really talented. Let's get behind this guy. But you can never really predict. It's like when something goes viral on social media, right? Everybody wants to go viral. If you are trying to go viral, you will not go viral. Going viral is just something that happens. You can't really predict it. You don't know. You can't say when it's going to happen. It just sort of happens. But Ali lost his spot in the chamber. It was taken away from him. And all he has to do is draw back to that and say, well, what about me? What about my WrestleMania moment? They're already teasing something with Ali tweeting, "Hello, Kofi." after Kofi got drafted to Monday Night Raw. The story is right there. Retribution has its next target. Even though it would really make more sense for Ali to go after Randy Orton. I mean, Kofi didn't have anything to do with him getting hurt. It was Randy Orton. But have him bring that up, and then have him talk about the fact that they kept him sidelined for 7 months. I don't think he was hurt. They just didn't have anything for him. They kept him sidelined. 7 months of his career, gone. 7 years of his prime, gone. Only to bring him back and keep him down. You can easily explain why Ali would have a reason to want Retribution on WWE. They could even tie in the hacker stuff if they wanted to. A lot of people thought Ali would end up being the hacker, right? It was the symbol on his glove. He was off TV at the time. It's got to be Ali. It's Mustafa Ali. Everybody convinced themselves, and I thought it was him too, but everybody convinced themselves it was Mustafa Ali. Maybe it was supposed to be him. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe we'll never find out. Maybe it'll go down like GTV. But if they wanted to, if that was supposed to be him, they could tie the hacker stuff in to this too. That would at least explain the flickering lights in the buildings that we've been seeing. That doesn't explain the awful camera work, which is one of the things that needs to stop. They need to stop with the cameramen shaking the camera up and down. Do you know how ridiculous that would look? And actually, they got caught once. I don't remember when this was, but they got caught in the last, last couple of years. It was on an episode of Raw. Somebody who was in the audience that night took film with their phone, and they got caught. They caught one of the cameramen. He's standing there. He's got the camera on his shoulder, and he's just bobbing up and down. The guy looked like he was having a seizure. You know how ridiculous that looks? That's what they do. When they come out and they do the shaky cam stuff, they have one of the cameramen stand there and literally just shake the camera up and down. And somebody thinks that this is actually a good television technique to use on this show. Maybe in some movie scenes it works. But to do it every time Retribution comes out and to do it for these segments on Raw and SmackDown, it is absolutely abominable. The worst production of any show on television that I've seen. These fucking guys, it's like they got AirPods in their ears. They're headbanging while they're bobbing the camera up and down. They're jamming down to Def Leppard. It doesn't add to the sense of urgency. It doesn't make things seem more chaotic. It just makes people physically ill. And they need to stop doing that. Now, they may have dropped the hacker stuff when they realized that they wanted to use Ali for this angle. But to believe that would mean that they knew Ali would be revealed as the leader a few months ago, and that's probably giving these people too much credit. It's more likely that Vince McMahon probably wandered into the building at 2 o'clock in the afternoon last Monday, and Ali got the news a few hours later that, hey, we decided you're going to be in Retribution. That I can believe. But now he is. He is now the leader of Retribution. And the key, as always, is going to be in the follow-up. This angle on Monday means nothing if the follow-up is not any good. Or if they just break them up in the draft, which I don't think they will. I think they'll keep them together. We'll find out tomorrow night. Ali has a logical reason for wanting Retribution. Dio Madden has a reason for Retribution if they want to call back to that run that he had for all of 2 months as an announcer on Monday Night Raw. Remember Vic Joseph and Dio Madden were the new Raw announce team, and they put Jerry Lawler with them because they wanted, I guess, some veteran voice in there to help them out. Oh, Lawler, we're going to bring Lawler back on a temporary basis. That was the story at the time. Lawler ended up being a lot more than just temporary. So, Dio, he wasn't an announcer. He was a wrestler. He had been in developmental for a number of years. He certainly looks the part. He's a big dude. He can be a big, scary-looking guy. But he never really had a chance to grow as an announcer because the experiment was over in 2 months. And how did the experiment end? Brock Lesnar gave him an F5. He was standing up. I think he was standing up trying to help Jerry Lawler. And for his troubles, he got F5'd and put through the announce desk. And we never saw or heard from him on TV again. Not until he started popping up in the audience on these Raw Underground segments. Dominik Dijakovic, I brought up the Keith Lee stuff from NXT where Karrion Kross left Dijakovic for dead. And that was Karrion Kross's way of kind of getting back at Keith Lee. I'm going to kill your friend. I'm going to kill your brother. And that image of Keith Lee in the ring kneeling down beside Dijakovic's dead body, it was like the whole Rocky IV thing with Apollo Creed. Ali, he even alluded to some of these things in a tweet. It was a collage of images, and it was one from, it had an image of Ali reaching up, almost winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. I think that was before Brock Lesnar came out and pushed him off the ladder, and then he won. In the collage, he showed the image of Dio being F5 by Brock through the table. Boy, it sounds like Retribution should probably be going after Brock Lesnar, doesn't it? I don't think Brock could keep a straight face in the ring with some guy called Slapdick. I don't think he could do it. He could barely keep it together when he was in the ring with R-Truth. You think he's going to keep it together with Slapdick? Or Slapnuts or Slapjack or whatever the fuck his name is? But the stories are there. Even Shane Thorne, old Slapjack. In this tweet that Ali put out, there was a small image in this collage of Shane Thorne on Raw in the backstage area earlier this year with MVP. That was when they put Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink from NXT. They put them with MVP for what, 2 weeks before they disappeared from TV? If they actually pay attention, and I had forgotten about that, but if they actually pay attention to some of the details here, and they kind of weave this into the story, which I don't believe was their original plan. This all sounds well and good, and maybe they'll actually do it. I don't believe for a second that when this angle was conceived of all these months ago, they had all the pieces in place. Oh, we're going to tie in the whole Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne thing and the Dio Madden thing. They don't think like this. I think a lot of this, frankly, is the fans and podcast hosts and people like that trying to make sense of all this, trying to piece things together. That's what I think is really going on here. Maybe it's the fans just letting their imagination run wild. Maybe it's the fans trying to give the company more credit than it deserves. All I'm saying is the story is there. If they want to explain it on TV, the story is there. And it could be at least a cool explanation, instead of just wondering why these people started randomly attacking all the members of the roster. We need to hear from these people now. It's time. It's been a few months. The time has come. These stupid promos they've been doing, fucking the Bane wannabe over here, all the cliched language and stuff that some fucking writer put on a piece of paper for them, fuck that shit. They need the real kind of money promo to put the exclamation point on this, and maybe Ali could be the one to deliver that on behalf of the whole group. Maybe we'll get that promo from Ali tomorrow night. It's not enough to just say that Ali is part of Retribution. We need to know the why. Because if not, if the plan here is not to really give Ali a push as a single star, then for Ali, this is just a temporary thing for him to do. It's not really going to matter. But, this also is not just about Ali. They called up a whole bunch of people from NXT. This is supposed to be the start. It's like the start of their second career. They had a career for themselves, kind of, right, in developmental or on NXT. And now this is supposed to be their big push. This is supposed to be their big moment. This is not just about Ali. The goal should be to get over T-Bar and Mace and Retaliation or Reckoning or whatever the fuck their names are. That should be the real goal here as well, is to get some of these people over. And I still worry that in this gimmick, it's just going to be a dead end. Unless they change their look up or do something different. This is still in jeopardy of going down a very bad road. And it could be a very uphill, climb for a lot of these new talents if they kind of go down the wrong path. And so for their sake, I hope they can salvage this. I hope they can turn this into something positive. I don't want to see their career stalled because of some stupid idea from creative that they didn't give enough thought to. Mercedes Martinez might not even be part of this angle anymore. Mercedes Martinez is no longer listed on the Raw roster. She's not been really mentioned in any of this. It sounds like, and PW Insider even confirmed it, but it sounds like she's being sent back down to NXT, is what it sounds like. And boy, if that's the case, if I were Mercedes Martinez right now, and she is no longer part of Retribution, she's going back to NXT, I would be doing the Balki Bartakamus dance of joy at that news. Imagine getting that news. We are rescuing you from Monday Night Raw and bringing you back to NXT. It's like a rescue scene out of an action movie. Her in that Retribution mask on TV was like the proof of life video that Triple H needed before he sent the cavalry in to rescue this woman. She should be thanking her lucky stars if she's not part of this Retribution storyline.